One of the big things happening right now is what's taking place with Russia and China, the deals they're making. It looks like right now we're ramping up for a possible war. Just being totally honest with you. And the CCP is making deals, business deals with Russia, economic deals, taking advantage of the destabilization of the U.S. financial system, including the banking system. And they're also pushing for new international alliances. Part of that alliance is with Latin America. Let me play you this video just so you can see what's happening right now.
Вчера вечером мы обстоятельно обсудили весь комплекс вопросов двусторонней повестки дня, актуальные международные и региональные проблемы. На только что завершившихся переговоров в узком составе проведен весьма содержательный и откровенный обмен мнениями о перспективах дальнейшего развития российско-китайских связей и укрепления координации на мировой арене.
As this takes place, there's now talk of a war against the Mexican drug cartels, and the Mexican president is actually defending the cartels. Let me show you this.
Sí, pero esa materia prima, lo que se hace aquí, ¿sí? Y no es México, repito, el país que más introduce fentanilo a Estados Unidos. Yo sostengo que llega más fentanilo de manera directa a Estados Unidos y a Canadá que lo que llega a México.
What is interesting with this is remember the deeper context of all the stuff we're watching right now. Remember previously I said that the Chinese Communist Party's own military documents say they would need to get the United States involved in 4 to 5 wars. That's Russia. That's a terrorist war. They wanted Brazil. That's North Korea. And that's probably going to be maybe Mexico at this point. They're trying to push towards that. With the pushing out of Bolsonaro as the president of Brazil and the bringing in of Lula da Silva, they're going to be restoring the BRICS alliance under what they call the Foro Sao Paulo, which is the alliance of very far-left governments throughout Latin America. Mexico is a big part of that. And both Iran, Russia, and China run most of Latin America in terms of politics, in terms of business, in terms of oil, and even on the drug trades, in fact, mostly China. The Mexican president has just ordered what looks like the seizure of an American company in Mexico. They even used the military to do it. Let me show you this. Town Hall. It says, "This is insane. Mexican military just seized the assets of an American company." It says, over the weekend, the Mexican military seized a number of assets belonging to American company Vulcan Materials. It says the seizure of U.S. company's marine terminal in Mexico has drawn criticism from a U.S. senator and risk sparking more tensions between the two nations amid spats over energy and security, Bloomberg reports. It says U.S. construction firm Vulcan Materials alleges that armed forces, including from the Mexican government, launched a takeover of its facilities in the country's southeast on Tuesday. The company says a federal judge in Mexico has ordered a stay on any government effort to confiscate the property. The move prompted national security experts to sound the alarm, calling the situation insane. I'll emphasize too, folks, that if there's a war with the cartels, or even further, if there's a war with Mexico itself, which at this point is becoming at least a viable possibility, what's going to happen with the tens of millions of Mexican citizens currently in the United States? What's going to happen with the porous open borders? What's going to happen with the drug cartel massive presence throughout the United States, including with the drug trade? Well, all that's going to be weaponized in one way or another. And I would say this does fall pretty heavily into the hands of the CCP. This is what they want. I mentioned previously, again, the cartels get the CCP does the money laundering for the drug cartels. That's done through what they call the Vancouver model. The Chinese Communist Party supplies the precursor chemicals for not only most of the synthetic drugs and so on, but even for things like methamphetamine. They supply the weapons, actually. A lot of those come from Norinco, a Chinese arms manufacturer. Even though the U.S. is accused of it, they come from Norinco. Most of the analysis that cartel weapons caches come from the U.S. was based on the analysis of one weapons cache, and irresponsible news outlets have repeated that false claim. Again, Chinese arms company Norinco has been doing a lot of the shipments. Fentanyl and synthetic drugs also come from the Chinese Communist Party, and the Chinese Communist Party, of course, runs a lot of the protection rackets, politically and business-wise. And so things are much more complicated than they may at first appear. And the CCP also being one of the main countries that runs essentially the United Nations, running the IOM, the International Organization for Migration, which is facilitating the illegal immigration to the United States on a massive scale, using American taxpayer dollars to the State Department, is another big piece of that, something to consider.